What's good, everybody? What it is, what it do, what it be like. This your boy Twice.
And it's your girl Tay.
I wonder if it's facts or feelings that you're feeling. I don't know if you know what's for real. Baby, just relax and chill. Let the tea spill. I bet the chemistry stop the pill. I wonder if it's facts or feelings that you're feeling. I don't know if you know what's for real. Baby, just relax and chill. Let the tea spill. I bet the chemistry stop the pill. I wonder if it's facts that you feeling. I love the fact you chillin'. These hours fly by when you and I is chillin'. These hours fly by. Feel like a couple minutes. Seen you on my timeline. Hold up, wait a minute, Twice and Tay. Yeah, you know they always catching up. Keep us up to date, cause it's hard to keep up through the day.
All right, good people, we back. Again, it's your boy Twice.
And
This
it's your girl Tay.
and this is episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about chokeholds. And when you really think about chokeholds, I think about when I was coming up and I was like really into WWF. I think about going to WrestleMania and watching Hulk Hogan put Andre the Giant in that chokehold just before he body slammed him. But that's like a physical chokehold. How many of you know that we do have chokeholds in our lives? And Tay going to kind of explain to you what we mean when we're talking about chokeholds for those that don't know.
Yeah, so when we're talking about chokeholds, we're talking about those things or people or just stuff that you have an obsession with that you just can't let go of. Those things that's got you stuck and just bound.
All right, all right. So chokeholds. What we're going to do first when we're jumping into this, man, we're going to name some different type of chokeholds that you may be dealing in your life, that we may be dealing with our life, that we may have deal with. I think one of the first ones that I kind of want to throw out there, I'll throw out a couple, Tay, and then you throw out a couple, all right?
All right.
All right, I think relationships and relationships cover so much. Like it can be family, it could be somebody you're dating, it could be a business partner, it could be just different things. Anybody that you're having any type of relationship with, or any type of uh, there could be chokeholds amongst that. I think another one I might want to talk about is just like I kind of mentioned the jobs because that's a relationship, but like alcohol and drugs and things of that nature. What you get?
Yeah, and I think, even when you talk about relationships, just looking at those people that you're loving on, you know what I'm saying, but who's not showing love back to you. And, sometimes we have these things that we worry about, and different things of that nature that just kind of get us stuck where we can't kind of break free from it.
Right, right. All right. Think some other ones that might be on my mind, and you might have just kind of mentioned that. You said something about worrying, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, worrying. All right.
Yeah.
So what we can talk about at this point really is chokeholds and what they look like. Like we gave y'all some examples, but let's talk about what you might not recognize these chokeholds in your life. So we're gonna kind of talk about what they might look like. For one, I'll think of one real quick. Uh, when thinking about relationships, I'm reminded of a job that I used to have, right? And it was this young lady, Tay, who, and I'm
Yeah.
sure I've told you, but it was this young lady who was extremely, extremely, extremely smart. And when I first started this job, I noted that she would kind of get away from the neighborhood and the community, and she would go sit in restaurants and do her homework. So she had some, I don't know if you want to say barriers, but she had some positive attributes that she would had in her, placed in her life that she would initiate to make sure that she could be the best version of herself, right? So because of that, man, this young lady had scholarships everywhere, all over. I was extremely, extremely proud of her. Uh, it she had scholarships to like Duke, Yale, Harvard. She could have went to any school she wanted to go to, Ivy League schools. But one chokehold that she had in her life wasn't necessarily her, but I think another type of stronghold you could have is like we said, those relationships, and sometimes those relationships could be parents. This young lady could have went anywhere she wanted to go to school. When I asked her where she was going, she was like, "Well, I think I'm going to Ole Miss." And I was like, first of all, on a personal note, boo, it's hell state all day. But in this situation, I was like, okay, cool, good school, but why not none of the others? She was like, every time I get ready to talk about going to school, my mom always say something like, "Oh, if you go that far away, I'ma die." So the choke, just to give you an example, the chokehold that she had in her life, not really wanting to be able to do what she wanted to do, and even though she was a kid, was her mom had this fear that she wasn't gonna be able to make it with her daughter, and she put that fear on her daughter, and it kind of choked out her dreams to a degree. I noticed she's probably was still successful because she was just that type of student, that type of person, but she wasn't able to go where she wanted to go because her mom kind of placed that fear on her, and so she didn't go. What you got, Tay?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a tough one because sometimes family do have us in that chokehold. Sometimes it's like a cultural thing. And, families look at like the levels of success that different family members have actually obtained, and they feel like that's the only place that you're able to function in because that's what has happened from one generation to the next. So she was definitely in a chokehold, and I feel like what that leads me to is like the imposter syndrome, and it's when you have the skill, but you don't have the confidence to go with it. You're constantly trying to perfect things, and you're limiting yourself, and we get to a point where we feel like we can't do any better because we're not expected to do any better because this is how my family has functioned. This is how people from my background has functioned. And we have to get it to a point where we change our mindset,
Right,
you
right,
know,
right,
and like we were talking earlier this morning, and I was talking about the mindset. When you think about the word in itself, the
hmm
mindset, you have to think about how you have your mind set and begin to reset it.
right,
Think
right.
differently because those roadblocks can become stumbling blocks.
Right. And just even what you saying that, as you know, I'm preparing to speak next week at a conference. And one of the things that I'm talking to the kids about, the young adults about, is just their mental real estate,
Hmm.
and where our thoughts reside. We have to make sure that our thoughts reside in the right place so that we could be, and I've said this, but be the best version of us. And we owe ourselves that. We owe the people that we love that. So, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and even when we're thinking about that, we do owe our people that, and we have to even begin to blaze new trails,
hmm
and get them out of that period of being stuck when they see us starting to unravel, but
Right.
unravel in a good way, and so we're not just kind of being choked out when it looks like success is not meant for us.
Right.
And when I talked about like the imposter syndrome, it's a state of where the four P's that they represent goes into effect, and those four P's are people pleasing,
Okay.
perfectionism,
Okay.
paralysis, where you just really feel stuck and can't move, and then procrastination, which we kind of talked about a little bit last week.
hmm
But just when you are stuck in those different areas, you can't really progress.
Right.
And we have to kind of realize we're not the only ones that are sometimes affected by that imposter syndrome. We have even like celebrities, big names that you wouldn't even realize, they're sometimes affected by it because the imposter syndrome just pretty much makes us feel like we're a fraud or we're not good enough. And some of those names um, that I know for sure that dealt with that was like the famous Maya Angelou. It was many times she thought that her books and her poems wasn't good enough. She felt
Wow.
like, this book isn't good enough to publish. This poem isn't good enough. I'm not good enough to be a writer. I'm not good enough to be in the position that I'm in. And we know her poems is like a staple today,
Right.
and then like Tom Hanks, he what's the movie everybody used to talk about with
Oh,
the
uh, uh,
the
Forrest
chocolate,
Gump. Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what
Yes,
you're going to get.
they made millions, if not billions, off of that movie alone. And Tom Hanks is definitely a beast at what he does.
Right.
And he felt like he wasn't good enough. And at some point, people were gonna recognize him as being a fraud. Like he's out here acting and he's really not good enough to be in Hollywood. Tina Fey, we've seen plenty of impersonations that she's done on Saturday Night Live and Lady Gaga, and then even First Lady Michelle Obama.
Wow.
She felt like she wasn't good enough because she was constantly trying to perfect that which was already a skill set for her
Wow.
because she was trying to please the people,
Wow.
so we can definitely find ourselves getting stuck in that imposter syndrome.
Yeah, when you talk about that imposter syndrome, and the people that you named, Maya Angelou thought she wasn't good enough, and she was
Hmm.
the standard. Tom Hanks, man, there's so many movies Tom Hanks have
Hmm.
out there, man, and it's just amazing how we can. It's almost like that imposter syndrome can cause what we could frame as or view as um, what's the word I was thinking of? Self sabotage.
Oh yeah.
Because
Def-
if you believe those thoughts and
mhm.
you begin to move in that disbelief or in that fear, which not even bringing up last week, but false evidence appearing real.
Mhm.
Like if you begin to believe that stuff, man, it can really choke out your dreams,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not just your dreams, because those people you named are very influential.
Hmm.
So imagine it choking out the dreams that people were going to have because of Maya Angelou if she stopped. She
Yeah.
helped people dream. So yeah, good stuff.
And even, the opposite of that is what's called like the Dunning-Kruger effect. And this is when you have the confidence, but you don't have the skill to go with it. So, a lot of times we always say just fake it till you make it. And that's the perfect example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. We don't need to be out here faking it till we make it, y'all. We need to know what we're doing and we need to be confident in the skill set that we have. If we don't know, we need to say something, but we
Right.
can't be out here, just in this chokehold of always faking something until we make it. Like,
Right.
get yourself out there and figure out how can I learn the skill, and
Right.
even like with the imposter syndrome, sometimes we're like, just stop, just get out there and just do it. And we don't really give people like the guidance or the know-how to kind of get out of the shell and get out of the things that they, are fearful of and they feel like they're not good enough, to
Right.
do. So you look like you had something to say over there.
I did. I mean, what was the name of that you called it again?
The Dunning-Kruger effect.
The Dunn and Kruger. Girl, you smart. Yeah. Uh, I think one of the things I was going to say is you talked about faking it till you make it, and I think
Mhm.
that can be a chokehold in itself. But the thing about that is, I think the major problem with that is some people take take the fake it till you make it approach, which is good because sometimes if you don't know, you put it in yourself in position to learn
Mhm.
and you can make it. But I think the problem with that is they get stuck on the fake it side.
Yeah, yeah.
They get comfortable and they ain't trying to make it.
Right,
They
right.
steady looking for that free pass, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So you got to in the fake it to the make it portion, I just wanted to say make sure you really trying to get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you faking it till you make it, you've already been provided with an opportunity that clearly I won't say you didn't deserve, but you wasn't qualified. But we know that, you know, we don't always have to be qualified. We can just be in position and we can get the things that the Lord wants us to have. So yeah.
Yeah, we just need to, be honest and upfront about it instead of going in, having somebody thinking you can do something that you can't,
Right.
because then that becomes a bigger problem.
Right.
You
Like
know?
like we actually heard in church today, like go in there and say, hey, listen, I don't know how to do that, but listen, I'm a great learner. You ain't got to show me but one time. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And a lot of people are like that. They're such great learners. You can show them something one time, and before you know it, they're your trainer. They're
Right.
your trainer. So yeah, fake it till you make it, but be honest so that you can get all the tools that you need.
Yeah, and even if you're stuck and you have that skill but don't have that confidence, it's easy for somebody to tell you, you can do it, just go ahead. But sometimes we need a little guidance to understand how to get out of that stuck place, how to get out of our shell. And some of the things that I would encourage you to do if you feel like you're definitely affected by the imposter syndrome is to like get around like-minded people. Get around people that's doing the things that you like to do, doing the things that you desire to do, but just need a little bit more guidance doing it. Go to conferences
Mm.
geared around your interests and your skills and the gifts that you have. Um, some of these conferences might be free, some of them may cost you a little bit where you have to invest into yourself. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with investing into yourself because when you invest into yourself, you investing into your future.
Right.
So, you got to accept praise and feedback when people are giving it to you and don't turn it down or brush it off.
Right.
Accept it, even give your own self a little
Right.
positive prep talk sometimes and
Right.
listen to motivational, speeches and songs and even like our podcast, and just know that you can do it. You're
Right.
capable and you don't have to
Right.
stay stuck in the place where you are. Just change your mindset.
Right, that's good stuff. One another thing that I just want to add to that, another chokehold just kind of popped up on me, and it's time management,
Oh yeah.
or should I say lack of. And if
Mhm.
I could use myself as an example, more recently, I've learned better to manage my time, to be more intentional with my time. Now, for those of you that don't know, me and Tay are married. Uh, and one of the things that we like to do, I don't know if you consider like a love language, but we love to watch TV together. You know what I'm saying? We can sit up and we can first of all, during football season, first game kickoff is at 11. And then the way Colorado did it this year, when they games wasn't coming on at like 9 o'clock, man, we can watch football from 11 o'clock in the afternoon, AM. And Colorado took us on over to about 1 o'clock in the morning. So, and that's cool if we didn't have nothing to do. Just enjoy one another and watch. But the main point that I want to get with too is bad time management. There's been so many times that I've set up and I've watched Netflix way too long. Like I'm enjoying my bride enjoying me. But let's frame this. Let's say, okay, we're gonna watch TV. A movie might be an hour and a half, but we can watch TV 3 or 4 hours. But I think if you know you got some things you need to get done, that might not be like a 7, 8 or 9 hour night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I got things to do, you got things to do, and we got things to do that's gonna bless other people. So we want to make sure that we get them done and stay ahead of schedule, y'all. Like if you can carve out time to do what needs to be done next week, go on knock it out, because that only frees up next week. Then we get more time to watch Netflix and chill or
Mhm.
what
That's good.
or whatever it is, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I think since we were talking about just relationships, I think another stronghold that a lot of us fall prey to is that of like friendships.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can tell your dreams and your goals to friends,
Mhm.
and sometimes those that we think are friends aren't really our friends. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And we need to leave some people at bay and leave them at the associate
Mhm.
category
Right.
instead of labeling everybody a friend, because a true friend would encourage you, motivate you, push you, and have your back. And so sometimes we have those friends that are just miserable,
Right.
and everything you say, is just a negative response from them. Like, girl, you ain't gonna be able to do that. Man,
Mhm.
people tried that and it didn't even go nowhere.
Right.
So misery just loves
Loves
company.
loves it.
Yeah. And sometimes, it's like you just stuck on misery lane right next door that can't get right
Mhm.
alley, and here you are trying to go up to the freeway to success.
Right.
And it just it's one of those things that just kind of keep you bound, but we got to
Right.
break free of those chokeholds that we even have with our friendships.
Right. And I don't remember all those things you said, but it was Misery Lane and the other ones. I think one of the best way to stay out of those spaces is
Mhm.
like we were talking about that mindset and that mental real estate.
Yeah.
Sometimes your neighbor, somebody you in close proximity to, close relationship with, might be a negative Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you
Right.
got those people who are just like you've already said it. I just gave her a name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they're just so negative that you will find that stuff starting to affect you. And those
Mm-hmm.
are chokeholds. Like negative Nancy might be your chokehold. She might be
Yeah.
choking out your dreams, choking out all that good stuff. So another one that I want to throw in there too, Tay, we kind of talked about worry and doubt. It's not even throwing it in there. It's another thought that I had. I think the reason why you need to consider worry a chokehold, doubt, a chokehold, because when those things jump, man, you can worry yourself to death. We've heard
Mhm.
that, right?
Yeah.
Worrying and stressing can literally change your health. It'll have you
Mhm.
around here sick. So I just kind of want to throw in there that worry and doubt will choke you out.
Mhm.
They will choke you out and literally have you sick. So we got to make sure we stay away from those things that don't do us good, don't do us well.
Mhm. And since we're talking about, the things that don't do us well all the time, one thing is holding on to an offense, when
Right.
someone has offended you, sometimes the other person that may have caused the offense may be struggling with something their own selves, and here you are, you've built up this wall, when you haven't even given them the opportunity to make things right. They've apologized, they're trying, but every little thing they do, it irritates you,
Mhm.
and they keep trying and they trying, and you got them in a chokehold. So the truth, be told, the facts about this is
Right,
sometimes you might be the one that's got somebody else in a chokehold.
right, right.
We just be real about it. We just we and if we come to that realization that it's us causing somebody else to be in a chokehold, we just got to stop it. Just
Right.
stop.
And
You
even
know.
what you saying that, I think a lot of times we do know.
Yeah.
We do know, and we're being intentional with it. So we need to just really, if you're that person, like really realize really how evil that's being. Like
Mhm.
you doing that person dirty.
Yeah.
Uh, you choking them out. It's some areas they're being less of well, how am I trying to say this? Because of that person's actions, you're hindering that person. I
Yeah.
just let it
Yeah.
go right there. You're hindering
Definitely.
them, right?
Yeah.
You're causing them, whether it be stumbling or whether it be to just stagnate, one of the
Yeah.
two. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely hindering them, and the thing is we need to free them so we can free ourselves if we're the ones that's causing them to be in a chokehold.
Right.
And sometimes those chokeholds are it's a result of like energy from stuff that we have going on
Mhm.
personally, and we begin to take it out on other people.
Right.
Sometimes it's like a generational curse, where this has happened, in my life, and I'm gonna, put that energy off on everybody else, and it's just gonna keep going and going. And you got these people in chokeholds, and you need to free them so you can free yourself from that chokehold that has had you bound from all these years.
Mhm.
You gotta just, let it end with you. Step away from it. Get the help, the guidance you need, get therapy if therapy is needed. There's nothing wrong with therapy. I think at some point we all need therapy to some extent. If
True
you
that.
feel like therapy is one of those things
True.
you can't even afford, get involved in a church. If you in a church, seek guidance from your leaders, but we definitely have to deal with that. Because sometimes we even have like those chokeholds from like past abuse,
Mhm.
neglect, failed relationships. It's gotten us in a chokehold, and we have to make up our mind no more. And stop finding excuses to be choked out and suffocated.
Right. And what you talking about those like things in the past that might be chokeholds.
Mhm.
What I've learned as I've gotten up in age and in my 40s, there's some things that may have happened in your chokehold. There's some things that might have happened in your youth
Yeah.
that is a chokehold that you never really realized. You
Yeah.
have to ask yourself, like,
Mhm.
why do I do this like this? Why
Right.
do I not do that like that? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
Why is it I don't like being around a group of people?
Mhm.
It's just different things that when you really sit down and evaluate it, and this is one of the reasons why I completely agree with you about it's okay to have a therapist, regardless of how some people might have been brought up. You don't need to go talk to nobody, talk to God. Well, I believe God gave us therapists for a reason.
Yeah.
Because when you really get back to digging into how you came up, you will find some things and you realize you've been operating a particular way because of something that happened 30, 40 years ago. And
Right.
it might have you looking halfway crazy, like, man, why that boy always do this? Why
Yeah.
she always do that? And you
Yeah.
don't even realize, but you can, that thing is attached to something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you realize that you can free yourself from that
Right.
chokehold. So I guess
Right.
it's kind of safe to say, Tay, that uh, all chokeholds you might not even recognize.
Yeah, I
You
think
might not.
so. I definitely think so. And you brought up a good point when you said, like culturally, sometimes it's like you can't go talking to nobody about your problems and stuff, putting people in your business. And then so you just sitting there choked out because you can't breathe. You're really, really suffocating
Suffocate.
because you're drowning in
Right.
whatever that thing is that have you in that chokehold. And so
Right.
we got to get out of that mindset because
Hmm.
if God has gifted us to have therapists and psychiatrists, he hasn't put these people through school and all this education for all these years to just sit and lie dormant. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I believe that yes, we can be free from anything, but
Hmm.
in the meantime and between time, while we're trying to break free from these things, utilize the resources that are there for you to help you and
Right.
still believe that you can be, delivered or set free from the things that you're going through.
Right.
So, yeah, even with like medication, sometimes people are like, you don't need to be taking that medicine, that medicine is that's
Hmm.
the devil. And it's
Right.
like, but you mean to tell me these people have gone to school, gotten all these degrees, the chemists have put together all these different ingredients to create this medication to help us in certain ways. Now, some of it you got to be careful with, but you
Right.
mean to tell me that that's the devil? So
Right.
you go and break your leg and you in pain? Is that Tylenol the devil? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
It's lack of knowledge,
yeah, it
lack of
is.
knowledge and understanding and
Right.
tradition. It's
Mm-hmm.
tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a chokehold in itself. Like
Right.
not wanting, hindering somebody from getting the help they need
Yeah.
because you may not really understand it, or you feel like you don't need to do that, or you go up there and talk to the people, you're gonna be telling them our family business. Like, man, I'm dying internally. Something
Yeah.
something is eating me from the inside out, and you don't want me to talk through this. I don't know
Right.
how to navigate this because the thing about
Right.
it is they'll tell you you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that, but they just say go talk to God, which is perfect. But
Yeah.
God got people in position. God got people in
Right.
place that can help us
Mhm.
navigate through the things we're going through. Perfect example. When you in pain, you go pop a Tylenol on it.
Yeah.
Your
Right.
Tylenol, your Aleve, your Advil, what it is.
Right.
This is that you're suffering in pain. I'm suffering
Mhm.
another way.
Yeah.
I just believe that there's something that can help me.
Mhm. That's
Right.
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 Yeah, and you worried about me telling the family business, bro. I won't even say your name, but I need to get me
Right.
free, from this chokehold because I need to be able to breathe.
Right. Right. Man, I think we really kind of discussed chokeholds well. I think what I kind of want to step to next, Tay, if it's cool with you, is like the consequences of chokeholds.
Mhm.
One of the first things that kind of stand out in my mind is being found. Well, let me put it like this before I jump into that. When we have certain chokeholds on us, whether it be I put time management out there, right? And with time management, when you don't manage your time well, you can become independable, right? Is that the right word? Independable.
If you ain't managing your time right, you become stuck and
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know where independable come from, but at any rate, uh, and so I think what happens is you become untrustworthy. People
Yeah.
can't depend on you, and
Mhm.
there is so much wrapped up in being found untrustworthy.
Mhm.
Like if I needed you to do something and you've always done it, you've always tackled it. Now, you tell me you're gonna do it, and I might hit you later on and say, "Hey, did you get this done?" Oh no, man, I got tied up. Well, when other things come around, guess what? I might hit somebody else. And the
Mhm.
thing about being found untrustworthy is you begin to miss opportunities.
Oh yeah.
There might be some opportunities for you that you don't get because you was letting something strangle you out, which could be time management. It could be anything else that we name. And because of that, now I don't really find you trustworthy to put this in your hands. That's my, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. No, no, no. I was,
Right.
I was taking notes too, But yeah, you become unreliable.
Mm,
One thing that I was kind of thinking about is a chokehold that we have our own self in sometimes
mhm.
is when the first of the year comes or December comes and we like in the new year, I ain't bringing none of this over with me. We get to making all these posts and sharing all these quotes and stuff, and it's like what I'm not taking over into the new year, negative people, people that's always begging with their hands out. I ain't taking this over there, I ain't taking that over there. Like, why you gotta wait till the new year to say new year, new me? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, if you know those things have you in a chokehold, you need to cut them off right there. I don't care if it's a October, November, December. We ain't got to take it over into the new year. You gonna just let it drag you on out and give them free course to just keep you bound because it's not the new year yet, because you waiting until the new year to make your post to say new year, new me. No, when the new year roll around, you should be thinking about what else I'm doing. I done already cut these people off. I'm already doing this. When the new year come, I'm just trying to see how I can make it even better, advance even better in what I got going on. Let me identify even more things that I need to break free from. But don't allow it that chokehold to just keep you in don't just stay in a chokehold throughout the remainder of the year because you waiting on the new year to come in and you like, yeah, I'm just as soon as that new year come, I'm gonna be free of all this. No, let it go now.
Right. Man, it's crazy when you really go to thinking about chokeholds because I'm sitting there thinking like even waiting to the new year
Hmm.
is a chokehold
Yeah.
because whatever the chokehold is that's keeping you stagnant or keeping you from progressing, you've decided you're gonna let it choke you out a little longer.
Hmm.
And that's crazy. But I think, and I say that too because I think it's kind of like a domino effect. When you go to start doing that self evaluation and you realize I need to straighten up in this area, once you straighten up in that area, you'll see another area that
Yeah.
you, it's kind of like, cleaning up the house. You might start in the kitchen, and when you get through with the kitchen, you might come around the corner and see your shoes. Well, I'm talking about myself. I might see my shoes sitting by my recliner, might see my Nike slides on the other side. I might realize I had two throws in my seat. But once I got the kitchen straight and I walk back through, I see some other things I need to do. And I think our life, we need to kind of unpack our lives and see what areas there's chokeholds in that we need to get straight. I think another consequence, Tay, is repetitive cycles
Oh yeah.
and going through revolving doors. It's just something about these chokeholds, man. When you don't come over them, you will see yourself going through cycles and going through revolving doors. Before you know it, it's like you stuck on. It's like that merry-go-round that just keep going round and round and round. And they, when you get to the bottom, you think you finna get off, and you go back around again. They gonna let me off this time before you know it, you go back around again. Uh, you got to break free, man. You got to break free from the thing, and you find yourself being, as we have already said, stuck.
Yeah, and when you talked about the merry-go-round, I thought about, like some of those hotels,
Hmm.
when you go in and they have that door that's just like a revolving door when you're going into the hotel and you're trying to get in. But if you don't jump off when that opening is there, you will find yourself still going around again. And you got to time that thing just right, or
Hmm.
you'll be like playing double dutch, just steady
Hmm.
going back and forth, waiting to jump off. You got to make up in your mind this thing is not going to keep me going round and round and round again.
Hmm.
Like you got to identify it and go ahead and just cut it at the root and let it go.
Right. And when you talk about that revolving door, and when it comes time to get out, if you don't get out, you go back around again.
Hmm.
Like we know who our solid friends are. We
Yeah.
know who the people who gonna keep it real with us, tell us what's right. And a lot of times when you have things that you're struggling with letting go in your life, you'll have a friend, you'll have a sibling, you'll have a parent You may have a pastor, you might have just a neighbor, but somebody who noticed that there's something going on with you and they speak it to you, like listen to them.
Mhm.
Like value this person for a reason, right?
Right.
Because that might have been your exit out of this revolving door.
Mhm.
But because you blow them off, don't want to hear it, feel like they in your business, you stay in that revolving door when you could have gotten out of it.
Yeah, and sometimes you stay on that revolving door for so long, you might miss your opportunity.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, so you don't wanna miss opportunities. That's definitely a consequence of a chokehold, is missed opportunities
Missed
because you don't
opportunities.
go and move when you should. You waiting on other people to tell you, "Yeah, you should do this," or, "Yeah, you should do that." So, yeah, we gotta be careful with those.
Right. And I don't think we mentioned this one, but I think, and I don't just want to say females because it happened with males too. But one of the things I think about, if I could just picture like that group of girls that got this one friend that they love well, but she's stuck in a relationship that she just won't let go of.
Mhm.
And they feel like this relationship or this dude is pulling her down. Like,
Yeah.
like she could be so much better in life. She could be so much greater in life. She got all the potential in the world, but she too busy running up behind this young man, or she too busy doing what he wanted to do. It's like he might have some type of mind control over
Yeah.
her. And those friends might have that conversation with her. Y'all just hating. Y'all just jealous. But
Mhm.
like again, when you have those friends or those loved ones that you value, don't let yourself tell you, oh, they just hate. Like really stop and pause and listen, cause they love you.
Yeah. I think that's huge, and, I've never been in a relationship where I felt that huge pull like that.
Mhm.
But, one thing that I will say, like, before we were married or even knew each other, and I was in like a relationship in high school. And where I'm from, or even just being young, you kind of consider like a long-term relationship being like a year, that's
Right,
not
right, right,
long.
right.
But it's
It's been
like,
a
yeah, we was
long
in a
time.
long-term relationship, we was
Right,
together for a year,
right,
I can't start over because I already put a year in on this,
right,
I'm
right.
vested. Uh, but but I remember being in this relationship, and it was my first year in college, like probably the first semester in college. And I just remember like in my hometown, we would like hang out at the McDonald's. And I'm from the Delta, the Mississippi Delta, from Greenville. Yeah, shout out to Gville.
G-Bill.
but but I'm from Greenville, and so we would like go and hang out in the McDonald's parking lot. Like it wasn't nothing, nothing going on. They have nothing out there in the parking lot. We just hanging out, playing music, just having a good time. Wasn't no entry fee. McDonald's making a little money off us, a little change, the little two
Mhm.
ninety nine value meal with tax 323. Just hanging
Right,
out.
right, right.
Everybody got their different radios going, and we just having a good time. And so, even if you're dating, you would ride through the parking lot, everybody see you in the car, just that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And so I remember coming home one weekend, and we were riding around, and this time instead of riding through the McDonald's parking lot, we was riding down the street past McDonald's, but we didn't go in the parking lot. We could see the people, but the people couldn't see us.
Right.
So I realized that something had changed in that moment.
Mhm.
And long story short, what it was that there was another relationship going on at the same
Mhm.
time.
Right, right,
And
right.
so, instead of you being stuck in a relationship where you see it's just you. Earlier we talked about, you loving somebody and them not loving you back.
Right.
Sometimes it's you being invested in somebody and they're not invested in you. And
Mm.
and it's okay to try to work through things, but if you're the only one working and the other person isn't working, you
Mhm.
need to do another evaluation of this thing and see, like, is this like a chokehold? Like, am
Mhm.
I stuck here? Because you will find that sometimes your true husband or your true wife is just out there waiting on you, but
Mm.
you're stuck in this
Right,
relationship because you're
right,
thinking this a long-term relationship.
right,
I put the
right.
time in.
We've been
Uh,
together a year.
yeah, we go
Right,
together, so we
right,
together. We
right,
gonna be
right,
married. I
right,
done
right,
already wrote my last name out. What it's
right,
gonna
right,
be? No, you better go and put some white out, or
right.
erase it, or draw some flowers through it or something. But you need to free yourself from those chokeholds, because it becomes a
Right.
stronghold and it's keeping you bound and keeping you from what's really out there for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think with what you just shared, it kind of brings us towards the end of this particular podcast, where we
Yeah.
can go in and start talking about like breaking those chokeholds, because
Yeah.
that's kind of what you just gave an example of. And I think for those, you might be wondering, like, once you recognize these chokeholds that you have in your life, like, how do I break them? I think the first thing that we should do uh, is, like Tay just said, you got to recognize it first.
Mhm.
You got to recognize it to conquer it. So like once you evaluate, like Tay said, she rolling, she be like, man, things starting to change.
Mhm.
Patterns starting to change. Like we had a routine, we
Yeah.
had a pattern, and now it's changing. So like what's up with that? And I think it's at that point that once you recognize it, you can conquer it. You can face
Yeah.
it and you can conquer it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Right.
And I have a few takeaways too, but one thing that I did want to just share because we talked about the chokeholds that addiction sometimes have us in,
Mhm.
and that addiction could be to alcohol, could be to drugs or whatever. I just wanted to, share information if there's anybody that is dealing with like an addiction to, alcohol or drugs or whatever the situation might be, just know that there is help and resources out there for you. There are free resources. And one that I wanted to share was like the SAMHSA National Helpline number, and it's 1-800-662-4357. Again, it's 1-800-662-4357. That's the SAMHSA National Helpline, and they can help you with like alcohol, drug addictions. And then even if being in these chokeholds lead you to a place of wanting to just give it all up, and do something to take your own life out because you can't quite shake it. There's also a number for that, and that's the 988 suicide hotline. And you can just text that number. Just text 988, and just kind of talk to those professionals that are out there and can really help you through those situations.
Right. And I think that's a part of planning. I think the takeaways that we had uh, was, like we said, recognize it and conquer it.
Mhm.
Tay talked about that, recognizing those patterns and behaviors that have you in a chokehold. Uh, I think another thing that we could say is, how is this particular situation, relationship benefiting you?
Yeah.
And then when you go to really trying to figure out how it's benefiting you, you may realize that it's hurting you.
Yeah.
So that's just some things you can do, is just evaluate. And after that, you just have to put up barriers.
Yeah.
And we use this word, it's embedded in my vocabulary now, but some non-negotiables. I think what you made up that particular time, you went home, you was riding a car, you came up with a non-negotiable of,
Yeah.
like, hey, this ain't what I'm dealing with. Like,
Right.
all
Yeah.
right, we used to bend every corner. Now we've been in every third corner.
Yeah, no, we've been in them back road. That what we doing. Yeah, and that wasn't happening.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah, yeah. I think, and even to just add to the takeaways that you had, definitely number one is just being real. Just
Be real.
keeping it real, recognizing the chokeholds, whether it's you or it's something or somebody else, communicating. If it's a chokehold that you're in and it's somebody keeping you bound, communicate. Not, you can go to them and keep it 100 and still, not go with an attitude, but just communicate. Hey, this is something that's really holding me back. I
Mhm.
don't mean no harm, but I got goals in life and this is what I want to achieve. If we're going to be together
Right.
or if we're going to be in this friendship together, we're going to work together. Let's communicate, let's compromise so I can get a little what I need, you can get a little what you need, and
Right.
we can, make some progress. And
Yeah.
then you got to begin to release those things that is a non-negotiable. Like he mentioned, you got to release it and then you got to just breathe.
And
Just breathe.
right, just breathe. And I think one of the things that you will realize is when you go to that person, uh, if they really that person for you, then they'll hear you out.
Yeah.
They won't be that chokehold. Like they won't not hear you. They'll hear you, and then y'all, like you said, be able to come to a conclusion, figure figure some things out, and be the best spouse or the best partner, the best mate for one another. And like,
Mhm.
what was that you just said about breathe?
Yeah, they gotta, begin to release and then just breathe. or
Right.
breathe again.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, well, in our closing, I just kind of want to say to the viewer, the people that's listening, are there any strongholds in your life? Are there any chokeholds that you can recognize? Or what are they, and what are they keeping you from accomplishing? How are they hurting those you love? And how are they hurting the people that you care about and the ones that love you? And
Yeah.
how will you break them? With
Yeah.
Tay thinking about breathe, which is kind of with Tay saying breathe, it makes me kind of think about E.T. the hip hop preacher. And I think he was talking, I was in a Zoom with him one time, and one of the things that he was talking about was his most famous speech that really got him to the status that he is now. And he was saying that when you want something in life, you gotta want it as bad as you want to breathe.
Mhm.
So in order, these
That's true.
chokeholds, y'all, whatever they look like, you got to realize they choking you out, they strangling you out. And if you want better, then you have to want that as bad as you want to breathe. So don't let these things be a chokehold.
Yeah.
That's our time. This is your boy Twice,
And it's your girl Tay.
and this has been another version of what, boo?
Facts and feelings.
I love it when you say it.
I wonder if it's facts or feelings that you're feeling. I don't know if you know what's for real. Baby, just relax and chill. Let the tea spill. I bet the chemistry stop the bill. I wonder if it's facts or feelings that you're feeling. I don't know if you know what's for real. Baby, just relax and chill. Let the tea spill. I bet the chemistry stop the bill. I wonder if it's facts that you feeling. I love the fact you chillin'. These hours fly by when you and I is chillin'. These hours fly by, feel like a couple minutes. Seen you